Okay. So, rep maps. Just look at these happy guys go. I have no idea what any of these dudes do. What do you do? And nothing, some frenzy, other stuff. Anyway, so we're still pretty much just invincible. Bunch of stats on here. 96 extra physical is cold. I think it's the only thing that really matters. Take some increased damage, blah blah blah. Anyway, so as you can see, this is still super boring. You just don't die, and the reason you don't die is because of your flasks and one of your ascendancy points. Let's check out the passives while those mobs figure out what's going on. Master Surgeon. It's busted. Because you recover 6% of life when you use a flask. And you have flasks that gain 7 charges when you're being hit by an enemy. We have all of these, but these four are the important ones because they require 20 charges to activate. So you would normally need like 200% increased flask charges gained to get to that point, right? To get 21 charges instead of 7. But you can also do it with reduced flask charges used. So we have minus 35% here, and then we have 95% here, and that combined means that every time we get hit, we have 4 flasks filling up. When 4 flasks fill up, then they get used, and then we recover 24% of our life. On top of that, we have armor. We're running precision, determination, grace, and hatred. And that's all we need. This flask effectively only, it's like half effect, right? Because you need to be hit twice for it to trigger, I believe. It's 30 charges, so we take off 35%, so it's 20 charges. We need to we gain 7 per hit, so 2 hits is 14 plus 95% is enough to trigger. So effectively we gain like 27% of life every time we're hit, right? Because this one counts for half and these guys are 24. But then you have to also factor in the fact that there's a chance that your flasks do not consume charges. When your flasks do not consume charges, that of course means they get extra uses, but I have no idea how to measure that part. That's something that's a bit baffling to me. Passive 3. Big changes. We anointed Essence Extraction for 25% increased flask charges gained. Before we were taking 3 nodes here for the same 25%. This is to allow us to run our auras. This is life and evasion. This is just some damage. This one has 5% chance, 10% reduced flask charges used. And then over here we have 5% reduced flask charges used. And then we have the last 20% right over there. This is a bit of a side grade. I slapped a different essence on it. For the 50% to chaos resistance during any flask effect, which of course is always. But everything else was pretty awful on it. The 48 armor is the only thing I got out of it. Yep, that's painful. Boots are trash, still the same boots that I got from Act 4. Gloves, life, and attack speed, 6%. A couple of, I don't know how to pronounce this. There were 2 alchemy orbs each, and I was pretty excited about that. Stats fixing, amulet. And the reason we're doing the stat fixing is to really support our Frostblink. Yeah, so chances are that if you're not trying to play Frostblink, Glacial Hammer, you don't have to worry about stat fixing. Helmet for reservation efficiency, some plus levels. Cannot be frozen is nice. Chance to avoid being chilled is nice, but we got a little bit unlucky on our flask rolls, so we have way too many ways to avoid getting frozen. And then rings, chaos resistance, life. That's pretty much all we care about on these guys. I think one of them came from a syndicate encounter, probably this guy. And then we have this guy, which I ended up buying for a different character and ended up reusing here. Oh, and this is just a chest with an essence thrown on it to get the 97% life. And we care about evasion because we turn our evasion into armor, because we go to iron reflexes. So there's kind of two builds going on. Let's talk about the reason that I'm not dying while these guys are hitting us and we're going over the build. We have the determination and the grace. Then we have this to allow us to support it, and we have a grace efficiency picked up here to help us as well. So we have a bunch of armor, of evasion. We turn that into armor using iron reflexes. We have this for some crit mitigation, right? 30% reduced extra damage taken from critical hits, pretty good. Bunch of life, and then, well, that's really. Oh, and then we have the flask parts. We have these nodes: 10% increased flask charges gained, 10% increased flask charges gained. And then we have 10% reduced flash charges used. We gain more flash charges if we do a critical strike recently. Well, that's not exactly easy to do or count on, so we don't talk about it. Over here we have the extra 5% with our belt, brings us 35%. Then we have the anoint for the extra 25. And then we have this jewel here, which gives us spike concoction, which gives us 20% increased flash charges gained. 5% attack speed, pretty good. And then we have 20% increased flash charges gained and 10% movement speed while under no flask effect, which is never. This is one of the guys that gives you life and mana recovery from flasks. Neither of those two stats do anything for us, so this is like a 2 strength node. That's all you get out of it. Let me move this up a little bit. 2 strength node here. Fasting, spike concoction. And then the other part of the build is to make Glacial Hammer. Lots of melee strike range over here, along with the additional strikes can hit way further away. Over here, melee strike range and splash effect. This gives cold only splash. This is the part nobody cares about, most likely. Cold damage, physical as extra cold. Cold freeze, elemental damage with attacks. Pen, elemental damage with attacks. And then we picked up Call to Arms. So Call to Arms gives us Ancestral Cry, and this gives us some armor on occasion, but really the thing we care about is just the extra targets with our strikes, so we have better clear. Then we have Frostblink, which does Bone Chill, and then we have Glacial Hammer, which also does Bone Chill because I haven't been able to fix my socket colors on this. And then we have this for extra damage. So we have Frostbite, Frostbomb, and Hydrosphere. I think Hydrosphere works because we have the strike an additional target and we do splash damage. I think you're shotgunning with this. Not sure. I think it works. Yeah, that's the long and short of it. Starting to run a little bit of a mana issue. This guy requires 19 mana per hit. I think I need to start worrying about it a little bit. So yeah, let's see what actually happens when you play the game. You pretty much clear a screen whenever you start using Glacial Hammer, which is fantastic. But really the tankiness is the nice thing. The Glacial Hammer part is, it feels really good while mapping, but uniques, where you don't have to have the magical, you know, let's ignore the last third of the hit point bar. That's shit. Alright, these guys, how you do? Yeah, these guys can't hurt you either. It's awesome. Even with the debuffs and letting things stack and letting things build up, they have a really hard time mitigating your recovery on hit. Because if you get hit with small hits on occasion, and sometimes you have to go find the small hits, like the Conqueror, the Chaos Conqueror, he killed me until I decided to stand in the middle of all the snakes, and then he couldn't kill me anymore because the little snakes were healing me to full all the time. There you go. That's how you deal with this. So, if you play this, you will probably become a terrible player. because you start to learn to stand in the middle of things where you shouldn't be standing, but now it's better to just stand in the middle of things. So we're moving. So yeah, a lot of these. Ooh, dropping low there. Degens are something to worry about. Degens can't kill you. Definitely have had that happen a few times. Ignites are something you actually have to pay attention to. Like a lot of ground effect stuff. I mean, you freeze a lot of things and a lot of things shatter. It's pretty nice. But yeah, that's kind of what you're looking at in those cases. I mean, your movement speed is fine. You're Pathfinder. Couple of things. There's some anti-synergies going on, right? We want to get hit a lot. Like, we really would like monsters around us to be faster, not slower. So this whole idea of combining with a glacial hammer, which does the freeze, which does the chill, that is awful in a way. We would like things to hit us more often, because then, you know, overall we have more stability in how things work out. Alright, bunch of rares. You just run into everything and just blow it up. 100% Scourge numbers. Not uncommon to hit. It's just... I mean, in tier 16 she'll die. A buddy of mine gave me a tier 16. It killed me. This is like a tier 12. But I'm like 86. So, not that exciting. Shock will kill you. I'm like 90 some odd percent shock dodge or shock avoidance. It's not enough when you just sit there for a very long time, because at some point you're gonna get shocked and you're gonna get critted, and that can be annoying. And at some point stun avoidance is gonna become important, right? Like, you just start taking too many stunning hits and you can just get stun locked. But in those cases, you can just pulse blink out of there and start hitting things again. So this is, you know, great if you need to be able to walk away and change a diaper, which has happened on occasion, or replace a binky or whatever else, because you can just walk away from the game while monsters are hitting you. Probably shouldn't work that way, but it does. And yeah, in general, this will make you a terrible player, because you will get in the habit of just running into things and attacking it with awful attack speed, with a terrible skill, and thinking that this is the way the game works. And you learn to stand in things instead of avoid things. Right? Like, one of the first things you should do when you go into Scourge is probably move. But, you know, we can just stand there and have things attack us, and that works fine too. Alright, so bosses. Bosses are a little bit more annoying. Trying to fix that a little bit. Not great. Oh, well. Good thing. After this boss encounter, I've got a baby to take care of. Okay, buddy. Get up. Anyway, so bosses 2, you just kind of sit there and stand there, and these balls, like, whenever things have like a whole bunch of projectiles, that's awesome. Like, those are the things you really look for, because it gives you the ability to just, you know, soak things up. Like the Katava swipe. That's like one of those cases where I get hit a whole bunch of times. When you ever get hit a whole bunch of times, that's awesome. Like these little balls, you kind of just want to catch them all. It's kind of like an own little mini game. Those like type of effects they do, where they have like these the like the actual big hits, bad, but like those sprays, awesome. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Anyway. We got what? What got us? Something was a degen. Probably from Maven. Anyway, let's put up our things. Not putting up my effects. This like area is like safe spot because, you know, she can't hurt you there. Whenever there's like a really big telegraphed slam, just step aside because yeah, you will die. I want to see what happens. Can I E? I come back down. Thank you. I don't know if this is faster. Oh, I don't have to curse up. So my damage is awful. No. Heads up. Bugger. Down. Oh. Okay, I walked into that slam. Okay. Go. So yeah, attacks like that just have like a whole chain of tiny hits, they can't hurt you. And whenever you do get low, you can always run away for a little bit. And, you know, after a few seconds, your flask charges fill up. When your flask charges fill up, then, you know, kill everything. My regen is not being very happy at this fight. This is taking a lot of damage for what this build normally does. Doom, 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 doom. So if you combine this with a skill that actually does damage, this is pretty good. Imagine that if you use weapons that cost more than, you know, alchemy orbs. Ooh, it got me. Then it also does pretty well. Anyway, we'll grind this down. But that's kind of like the weakness right now. Bosses can get you, depending on what attack patterns they have. Like Silo boss doesn't stand a chance, just because of his attack pattern. But like other bosses, like that one, apparently the way that the hits are calculated, you do have to worry about them, which is unfortunate. So, not quite immortal. We're at 4,000 life. The more life, the more you recover. Our armor is me. Our gear is me. I mean, I'm wearing Act 5 boots, so that can be upgraded if nothing else. And once we get all that in place, we probably can handle fights like this much better. And I think that in this particular case, the map mods with the 100% extra physics called might also be doing a bit of a number. Alright. Not gonna catch me again, buddy. Arena looks like ass. This. I don't think I've ever seen him do this attack before. Yeah. I think the biggest issue right now is just damage. I mean, you could put a better build on this, you can put a better attack on this. I think the recovery part is bonkers. And I hope they fix it. But the challenge is that fixing it really involves fixing this node. Can I blink out of there? Yeah, I can. If this was a rare, then he would have exploded a while ago when he froze. Dead yet. There we go. Anyway, there you have it. Pitiful boss damage. Pretty good outside of bosses. So, not quite immortal anymore. But I think most of that is just because of how slow it is with bosses. Like right now we are tooltip of 45,000 DPS with a 0.3 attack seconds. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So there's a lot of opportunity to improve things there. And I'm kind of excited that I get to like do things that make the game that I have to fix to keep staying immortal. No, you have somewhere to go there, lady. Just hangs out. Oh well. Anyway, silly build is silly.